Full time here at Wembley Stadium, Arsenal 0, Manchester City 2. Pep Guardiola has got one over his former apprentice Mikel Arteta in this one. I think many fans prior to kick-off thought that this game could be a defining moment in the battle, the season-long battle for domestic supremacy between Arsenal and City, and on this occasion Man City justly reigned supreme here at Wembley. It was an interesting game, very cagey first half, wasn't it, between these two sides, not really many clear-cut chances. I think Trafford coming into the side, of course, in replacing Gianluigi Donnarumma. He was obviously the goalkeeper for City, and he made 3 big saves early doors, keeping out Kai Havertz and 2 more attempts from Bukayo Saka. And then City, they struggled to really break down Arsenal's backline. Saliba and Gabriel, they really won the duels against Erling Haaland today. And yeah, Haaland didn't really have a sniff in the entire game, really. In particular, in the first half, he had one header towards the end of the first half that reached over the bar. But yeah, the cagey first half, wasn't it, in that first half? And then City, after the break, Pep Guardiola team talk, whatever he said in that second half certainly paid off. It worked wonders for City, and they were just, I think Arsenal just struggled to that intensity of City in the second half. The intensity really stepped up this time, and it was one man in particular that stole the show in the second half, and that is Nico O'Reilly. What a player he's been for Man City. He's 20 years of age, getting in with 2 headers in the space of 4 second half minutes. The first one, obviously, a bit of an error from Kepa. I'm sure Ben will mention that in a minute now, leading to O'Reilly's first, and then the second. Arsenal was sort of cut open in that second half as well. Surprisingly, uncharacteristically unstable, I would say, to that back line. City capitalised on that, O'Reilly in particular, and this is a great night for Man City. Ben, what were your thoughts on Arsenal then overall? It's, defeat here at Wembley, quadruple hopes are over as well. What are your thoughts then after that game?
Well, firstly to our viewers, Oliver is not a giant. He is appropriately on the step up, and as the winner, as he is the winner, he's on the step up. As I'm the loser, I'm on the step down. But yeah, like you were saying, it was kind of dominated by the goalkeepers, this one, the second choice goalkeepers. Both managers went for the second choice goalkeepers. Trafford made that tremendous triple save, and then Kepa again writing headlines for the wrong reasons in a EFL Cup final. You look back to 2019, the Maurizio Sarri incident. 3 years later, he misses that penalty against Liverpool. Then 2026, that, I don't know if you can call it an error. Obviously, the ball was already quite high, just his positioning maybe could have been a bit better, but either way, it is another goalkeeping gaffe from Kepa. But that first really 10 minutes, Arsenal were on it, City were not, and that triple save that Trafford made, I think for me, Havertz had to score. Saka's chances were a bit more difficult, but that first one from just those 3 saves in all, that really should have galvanised Arsenal to keep going and think, okay, we can get in behind this Man City back line. Several times Gyökeres made some promising runs in behind. A couple of times he was outpaced. A couple of times he did get on the ball, but that really should have given Arsenal belief that we can get in behind. We can actually get at James Trafford some more, but it didn't. And for not the first time, and certainly not for the last time this season, they just ran out of ideas. And of course there was no Eze, there was no Odegaard. Made things exponentially harder for Mikel Arteta, who went for Kai Havertz. There was the option to go with Saka in the number 10 role and then try Madueke or Max Dowman on the right. He did do that in the second half, but too little too late by that point. And that's one of a few selection calls you can question Mikel Arteta for tonight. The first being Kepa in goal. Seen a lot of fans on social media already saying, we shouldn't have been sentimental. You play your best players in cup finals. A lot of people wanted Raya to start. To be fair to Kepa, in this tournament, he hadn't really put a foot wrong for Arsenal before today. It's just an unfortunate situation. Second one, this surprised me. I thought Nketiah might come off at half-time because he got that early yellow card, exactly. And then Calafiori, for me, in that 30 minutes, he was our best player, hands down. I mean, he had our best chance, that sort of cross-come shot that just skimmed off the post. If Trossard's studs were a tiny bit bigger, he might have got a touch, and that could have been a different story. But I think for me, Calafiori should have come on at half-time. I think just his overall performance now, there might be questions whether he can win back that left-back spot. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will be unhappy to have seen Max Dowman left on the bench. Gabby Jesus, to be fair to him, he had another header off the bar as well, so twice we hit the woodwork in that game, which seems scarcely believable given we just had such a lack of creativity throughout the match. But this is just a cursed competition for Arsenal. You think back to Chelsea 07, Birmingham City 2011, Man City 2018, and now this year. I think I saw a stat, we are the first team to lose, we've already lost the most League Cup finals, now we've lost the most consecutive League Cup finals. I can still hear some Arsenal fans outside, so at least, they're still optimistic, they're still going, Arsenal, they can still do a treble. They can still win the FA Cup, they can still win the league, they can still win the Champions League, but based on the evidence of today, when they just have no creative genius, they just don't have the answers. And set pieces as well. Bukayo Saka, his deliveries weren't really on point. Declan Rice's were, he had a couple of free kicks which were cleared quite easily, but it was just a day where nothing went right for Arsenal before the game with the injuries. During the game, nothing went right. And I think it's also Mikel Arteta's first ever defeat at Wembley as a manager or as a player. So a really, really forgettable day for Arsenal. Congrats to Man City, they deserved it. They were the worthy winners, and just from a red and white perspective, hope that it doesn't have a massive knock-on effect for the Premier League season.
Exactly, whether it has that psychological blow now is a big thing now. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, in contrast to City, 5th EFL Cup triumph for Pep Guardiola, more than any other manager in this competition. 9 EFL Cup wins for Man City in total. Only Liverpool have now won this competition more, so quite impressive for City. Of course, most of those triumphs have been in the modern era, but very impressive for City to take this competition seriously. Some people obviously call it the Mickey Mouse Cup, but City's taken this very, very seriously over the years, so fair play to them for that, and fair play to turn up in the second half. They've turned up for a big game here, after sort of a bruising week, losing to Real Madrid 5-1 aggregate in the Champions League, dropping points in the Premier League as well against Nottingham Forest and West Ham. It was difficult for City fans to take, difficult for City players to take as well, and falling 9 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League title race. So after that bruising week, this was a result that they needed. They needed a real lift, I think, and this is hopefully what will provide that now. This win against a strong Arsenal side, not as strong maybe on the day, but Arsenal went into this as favourites, and City have come out on top. So fair play to Man City for that. And hopefully now this can help City put together some sort of positive run of form towards the end of this season. It'd be great if they can follow this cup triumph with another trip here to Wembley and win the FA Cup. Obviously they lost the last 2 finals in the FA Cup, so it'd be great if they can end the season on a high. And who knows, this could end the season on a high in what could be Pep Guardiola's final year at the club. Obviously lots of rumours about his future, whether he leaves a year before his contract expires in 2027. That's what City fans want. Whenever he does leave, City want Guardiola to leave on a high. They don't want him to leave. They didn't want him to leave this season after back-to-back trophyless season. Of course, he was trophyless last season. Now they won a trophy. Will they push Arsenal all the way in the Premier League? It's difficult to say, isn't it? 9-point gap is hard to overturn now, unless City have got to beat Arsenal in that game at Etihad. That's a big game, isn't it? Of course, for both teams. Whether the title is wrapped up by then, who knows? City might drop a couple of points. After the international break, of course, City have got back in the FA Cup action. They've got Liverpool in the quarter-finals, and Arsenal got Southampton away, haven't they? And then for City, it's 2 really big games in the Premier League against Chelsea and then Arsenal. So it doesn't stop there in terms of tricky fixtures. Great for City, they can build on this now, and for Arsenal, they need to bounce back under them.